everyone, I hope you're all well. I just wanted to hop on quickly just to relay a little message that came to me earlier, which I felt was perhaps just significant, and maybe there's someone out there that needs to hear it, but also because I haven't been on live for such a long time. It's been very intense energy-wise for the last, I would say for the last few months really, and I guess I've been preserving my energy for my training programs and doing sessions for people, and so I haven't been on here so much. However, I will endeavour to jump on a little bit more often and relay important information regarding energy updates and what's happening and my thoughts on all that's happening in the world, and any insights and guidance and inspiration that I have. So today I just wanted to talk a little bit about the seemingly lack of people doing the mental body work. So what I mean by that is energy and emotional body work without doing the actual mental, the integral, and as I see it, integrative mental body work is just going to result in temporary or superficial healings. And I think we can all agree, healing practitioners and spiritual practitioners, that all the healings that we've done, the energy healings that we've done over the years, and then we come back to that same quote, I thought I'd worked on this. How many times have you actually, said this to yourself? So obviously we can be doing all of the, transforming the energy and releasing the emotions, but if the thought patterns remain the same, if we're still perpetuating the same thoughts, then all we do is continue creating, more of the same, of which we are trying to release. So most of us are aware, creation does actually start with a thought vibration. Whether that thought is a positive thought or a negative thought, ultimately, the thought, it's basically a thought creates emotion, which is just energy in motion. It basically it travels through the body and into the body and becomes manifest in the body. And when a thought is repeated over and over, again, whether it's positive or negative, it takes on its own energy, gains momentum, and it becomes an entity. So this is where we talk about thought entities, which is what I talk about, and what I'm looking for in people's records when I'm identifying their blocks, and the issues, the limitations, etc. So these thought entities, this energy that we have created by way of thought, this thought vibration, gains momentum, becomes an entity, and that can result in an implant which is running a specific program, and it keeps us going, repeating loops, kind of going around in circles, repeating specific loops, which is basically a pattern. Also, these entities can result in a fractal, a demonic fractal, which is basically a separate identity or entity part of ourselves, and that can also perpetuate its own thought vibration. So the actual demon, even though it's our energy, it's a fractal of our own identity, fractal of our own entity self. It can take on its own thoughts and create its own thoughts, and then it can feel like we're being hijacked or taken over, or we're being attacked. So most of our demonic visions, the actual, these counterparts that we see, and assume that it's an external being or a psychic attack, most often they are just fractals of our own energy, and it's not necessarily, an attack or a takeover, and these demons present themselves because it's a part of ourselves that needs transforming, it needs alchemizing, but they are powerful. So it really can feel like we are having some kind of having some kind of attack, or really, really powerful they can be. So the moral of this little video is just the importance of focusing on doing our mental body work, and then using supportive energy work to complement the actual energy that we're trying to release. So identifying a thought pattern and bringing it into our awakened consciousness, because quite often these thought patterns are unconscious, they are part of our shadow body. So when we can identify a specific thought pattern and recognize it as being detrimental, negative, destructive, damaging, creating limitations, creating unnecessary fear or survival programs, then we can transform that by thinking the opposite, so creating a new thought that is opposite to this. So if it's fear, just kind of recognizing, well, actually there's nothing to fear, there's nothing, look at, I always ask my clients, look around in it, is your life in danger right now? Are you in any physical danger? And most often it's no. So it's just kind of when you start going into that fear pattern and recognizing, I'm not in danger, this is just a thought, and I am not my thoughts. And so what we can do is then start to transform that thought pattern, and doing it daily. It needs to be repeated over and over and over again in order to transform it. It's not something that we can transform in a few hours or a few days. It's habitual. So what we're doing is we're overriding and overwriting that default program by creating a new thought that is opposite or that is more congruent. So it's really important that we focus on the mental body work, and as I say, using energy work as a supportive process rather than the other way around, which is how I observe other practitioners doing, as I did myself when I started out. So that is basically all I wanted to say, really. It's just kind of having that perspective on really going into the mental body work, and that involves self-observation. It's being our own mentor, being our own witness, being our own observer, which is the most difficult part of any inner work that we're doing, is actually being our own observer, because quite often it's just so easy. Our default programs are negative thought habits just take over sometimes, so it's kind of catching ourselves and pausing in each moment. So this is basically what the Akashic record is, and the work that I do. Ultimately, the Akashic record is just a label or a term that is used to describe our the consciousness of our mental body, which is basically stationed in a higher plane of identity. It's kind of fifth dimensional part of our consciousness, and this is not kind of spiritual woo. We have got different dimensional aspects to our consciousness. So the mental body is part of our fifth dimension aspect of our identity selves, another station of awareness. But again, because it's a subconscious part, this is the subconscious mental body. It's a subconscious part, so it's not something that we're consciously working with, hence subconscious. And all of our experiences, our thoughts, our actions, our choices, what we're doing daily, everything is recorded. Our body is just a recorder. The DNA records and it holds information. The energy centers are recorders. So all different parts of our body consciousness is recording information at all times. We're basically walking receivers and transmitters. And so You know, the body's holding that information as memory in our subconscious, and this is basically what the Akashic record is. So there are people out there that think it's kind of spiritual woo, but you know, if you actually go into the mechanics of the Akashic record, it's actually not. It's very practical, and it is basically just working with the subconscious. So what I'm looking for when I'm doing a reading for somebody is I'm basically, you know, with their permission, entering into, you know, working with their superconsciousness, their higher consciousness, their subconscious, to identify the mental body and emotional body programs and patterns that are obviously creating issues. And then obviously once we've identified this, you know, what's kind of showing up in that moment, then of course I'm, you know, bringing this into your conscious, into a client's conscious awareness, so that each individual has the knowledge and awareness to repattern, because quite often we can be aware of some of our patterns, especially behavioural patterns, but not always our thought patterns, because quite often they are unconscious. So ultimately it's empowering an individual to take control of the thought processes. So yeah, that's basically all I wanted to share today. Just a quick video to just bring into the collective field, you know, the importance of actually doing the mental body work. You know, most people are focusing on as I said, you know, Reiki and energy healing and yoga, and but not really doing the observational mental body work, which is it's an integral part of any healing work. And this is, for me, this is basically what the inner work is. It's all about the mental work. It's all about you know, really identifying these aspects that are held in our shadow body. So for those of you who are familiar with theta healing or the emotion code, body code, it's very similar work, but I do really feel, I mean, I'm a theta healing practitioner, but I found since I started working with the Akashic record on a deeper level, you know, we do aspects of Akashic, going into the Akashic record with theta healing, because again, it's the subconscious. But this body of work that I'm doing is really powerful and much deeper than the theta healing, which is why I don't really do theta work anymore. I basically just do this because it's so much more powerful, and it's a little bit more accurate. I find it's more accurate for people that we're doing, you know, when I'm going into their records, it's more accurate, and we're going beyond the belief. You know, theta healing, we're working with the belief, but with this work, we're going beyond the belief into the root program. And the root program is what creates all the symptomatic beliefs and perceptions. So we get to the root of the program, we delete the program, and then we work on reprogramming it, and that then helps to dissipate the negative beliefs around the experience that we've had that actually created that program. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. Yeah, so thank you for listening, and if you are a healer and you've not worked with me already, then if this work calls you, there's a lot more to it, because we go into multidimensional healing and embodiment, quantum recoding, so basically teaching you how to access and read the records accurately for a client. I mean, anybody can go into the records, but it's, are you reading them accurately? So I'm really teaching people how to read them accurately. I don't work with Akashic record keepers or archangels, or I work with a client's subconscious, and I teach you how to work with a client's subconscious. So there's no interference from external forces, external sources, external beings. We're purely working with my consciousness to a client's consciousness. It's a direct line, you know, there's no middlemen interfering, because of course when we start, you know, stepping into the ether and going into the astral, and above the astral into the archetype bodies, then of course we can open ourselves up to having external interference from, you know, the space junk that is very prevalent and out there at the moment. So, but with this, it's a direct line from my higher consciousness to your higher consciousness, and working with that and receiving that information directly from the client, rather than from a middleman, an Akashic angel or an Akashic record keeper. Actually, it really doesn't resonate with me. People who work with Akashic record keepers, there is no Akashic record keepers. The Akashic record is my energy, it's my information, it's my subconscious. Why do I need a keeper to hold that information? I am my own keeper. And so this is basically what I teach in the training programs that I'm doing, and obviously, bringing this information into the clients I work with, doing personal sessions for healers. I work mainly with healers and teachers, etc. So anyway, if you are a healer and you're watching this and you are called to this work, or you feel that this resonates with you, then reach out, drop me a message, and I'll pop my website link in the description part, and so you can hop on and have a read through and look at the work that I do. The next Akashic record facilitator training is in the beginning of May, so 4 weeks. And the next one after that will be August. So if that calls you, it's a certified facilitator program. It's accredited and approved by international practitioners of holistic medicine. So I spent a lot of energy and time and effort into this training, and it is very powerful. The readings that I do are really powerful, and the training is powerful. So I'm basically teaching you how to do the readings that I offer for people. So check out the testimonials on my website. Lots of powerful feedback from previous clients. And yeah, just reach out if it's called. I'm happy to have a chat with you. If you're not sure what program that you want to participate in, how you want to work with me, I have quite a few different programs on there. So yeah, just let me know, and I look forward to helping you to release some of this distortion, the distractions, the disruptions, and helping you to bring yourself back to a space of harmony and balance, because ultimately that's what my work's all about. It's kind of restoring spiritual homeostasis, restoring spiritual harmony, and helping people to come back to themselves so that they can step into their power and step into the roles and the actual, for those that have a soul mission, for the mission that you came here to do, but life has got in the way. Your negative programs have got in the way, your beliefs have got in the way, the indoctrination and the conditioning and the inherited beliefs and programs have all gotten in the way. And so there's, we're running, and most of humanity is running on kind of fear and survival and just stuck in these negative loops. So ultimately my work's all about liberating, helping you to liberate yourself and to step into your own sovereign power, and really connect to these divine aspects of yourself, the higher aspects of yourself, ultimately for soul and monadic embodiment. Because without that soul embodiment, without being embodied, with our soul aspects, with our soul awareness, these higher stations of identity, then we're just going to continue going around in circles and experiencing life from a limited space. So obviously we're clearing all of this distortion, all of these imbalances, all of the interferences and everything that we pick up and receive from the controlling forces out there, from the 3D matrix. Ultimately it's about